Right, so when it comes to Royal Enfield motorcycles, we've all known them for vibrations and not very refined engines, right? But that's not the case with the flagship 650 twins, the Interceptor 650 and the GT 650. They share the same engine and it's one hell of a motorcycle to ride. Years ago is when the 650 twins was actually launched, right? The Interceptor 650 and the GT 650. We've owned a couple of the Interceptors and they've done a fantastic job in the performance department. So if you look at this motorcycle here, we've clocked about 20,000 kilometers and we've been using it for daily city commuting, short rides, breakfast rides, and we've also done a couple of long rides on this motorcycle. With 47 PS and 52 Newton meters of torque, I think that this motorcycle has a lot to offer when you're on the highway. You can easily keep up with some of the big bikes in this segment, and it does a fantastic job in this performance department is what I'm talking about. Now, when you're talking about the engine, it's really surprising that Royal Enfield has actually pulled out a no-brainer here, because the 650 twins, there's absolutely no vibrations. No matter what speed you're riding in, no matter what gear you're in, the vibrations are a total nil. Right, so talking about performance, I think when it comes to performance, most of the Royal Enfields, they really don't go hand in hand, right? I mean, they do the job. I'm not, blaming the brand or putting it down by any chance. It's just the overall characteristic of the motorcycle, right? But if you look at the Interceptor, this is Royal Enfield's flagship model, which means they have the best components inside the 650cc and this gearbox. And did I tell you, this gearbox, this 6-speed gearbox is quite a delight to be riding with. It's so slick, it's so smooth and precise. You absolutely have no false neutrals and the gear slots in really well. But there is that one thing that actually, just doesn't work well when you're in stop and go traffic is the clutch. The clutch is quite heavy. Even though they have a slipper clutch installed on this motorcycle, the feedback from the clutch is really heavy, which is when your left hand starts to hurt a little bit when you're in stop and go traffic, which is where most of us would be riding this motorcycle, right? Now, in terms of performance, I think Royal Enfield has gone all out and it's a superb, fantastic, smooth machine to be riding out. But what we've done to make this a lot more better, we've added the Stage 2 kit with the DNA filter, coupled up with the NGK spark plugs for some better, throttle response, and also the Devil exhaust that you guys just heard it in the video, right? Yes, they might not be street legal, but why not just have it on the motorcycle with this 270-degree firing order parallel twin? This Devil exhaust is a no-brainer to have on this motorcycle because it's just pure music to your ears. Right, so with all that performance and power with the Interceptor 650, the comfort and the handling has definitely not taken a backseat on this motorcycle. While we've ridden this motorcycle extensively on the highway, we've done a couple of rides where we've clocked over 800 to 1,000 kilometers in a single day on this motorcycle, and we can confidently tell you that the seating posture, the handlebar position is absolutely fine for this motorcycle if you're somewhere between 5'5" and 5'10". Anything a little more than that, you might need a set of risers, and that should work absolutely fine. But when you come back a little bit, while you can still hug the tank, with your thighs and work it around in the corners and stuff like that. But what really is a big letdown in this comfort department are the seats. The seats are quite, I wouldn't call them seats because they are so hard, they're so firm, and they have absolutely no feedback and no comfort. So in this department, you might want to look at upgrading your seats or, getting an aftermarket seat. You might want to also try the Royal Enfield Touring seat. We've heard quite good reviews on that product as well. But yeah, in the overall comfort department, we've seen this as a big miss from Royal Enfield. But apart from that, I think on the highways, it's quite decent. Now, moving into the handling bit, this is where the Interceptor 650 actually surprised me. It handles more like a street bike, more like a race bike, because that chassis, what you see there, has been designed, I wouldn't say for the streets or for touring. It's maybe designed to go racing, because that chassis is so rigid and so firm. You can really belt the bike into corners. While the bike weighs about 210 kilos, it really doesn't show all of that when you are really belting the bike around in the corners, right? So I think in the handling department, it comes with your Pirelli Sport Demon tires, your big discs up front and at the rear. They work absolutely great to have a good commanding and engaging ride with the Interceptor 650. Right, so where the Interceptor 650 earns a few brownie points, most importantly is the seat height, 804 mm. I think anyone can ride this motorcycle because you can easily plant your feet on both sides, and it's quite a beautiful motorcycle to ride, even if you're about 5'5", 5'4", it's absolutely fine. And couple that up with the ground clearance for a bike of this size and weight, I think at 174 mm of ground clearance, it does a decent job. We've not seen this bike scraping speed breakers and stuff like that, but if you're maybe on the heavier side, then yes. But apart from that, most importantly, what we've noticed in the last 20 odd thousand kilometers, this being a big, massive 650 engine cc, the heat management is, I would say, brilliant, because we've not felt this bike overheating under any given circumstances. Riding it in the city, riding it on the highway, this oil-cooled motorcycle works absolutely great. There's been no complaints of it, heating up in any given place. Now, if there was one thing that could have been a lot better on the Interceptor 650, I'm not sure how good it is in the GT 650, because I've not personally ridden that bike for a long distance, but I'm assuming it's the same setup. Talking about the suspension, right? While the rear gets preload, it's a preload adjustability, it's quite good. It gives you decent feedback, but the front suspension is really soft, and the bike being about 210 kilos, the front being that soft, they really don't go hand in hand, which means you're looking at bottoming out the front end of the motorcycle quite a bit at any given pothole, speed breakers, and say you're riding it in the corners. That takes a little bit beating on your handling as well. But I think a little bit of tweaks with the aftermarket springs and smaller add-ons like that, I think this motorcycle will be a good one to ride on the racetrack or even on the karts like this. Right, so the Interceptor 650 is such a brilliant motorcycle to be riding on the highway, in the streets and stuff like that, to do your breakfast rides. But in terms of your fit and finish, we've seen a lot of Royal Enfield motorcycles having this problem, right from the Himalayans, and maybe even a couple of Interceptors. We've heard and seen stories. While we've faced this problem ourselves, the first Interceptor that we owned, we actually had the rear part of the chassis crack and break into two pieces. This is such a letdown, because most of us would be using this motorcycle to be touring, and you would want the rear part of your motorcycle to either hold a 30-liter top box or maybe a soft luggage bag, right? But that's not the case with this bike. While it was replaced under warranty, I think a chassis breaking off a motorcycle is not a very delightful experience to have when you're, maybe up in the mountains and have your chassis break into two pieces. So what we've heard from Royal Enfield is they have actually reinforced the newer ones that's coming out in the market. So we'll have to wait and see, and which is why we've not had a top box on this motorcycle after that incident. But yeah, apart from that, I think at a price point of 3.5 lakhs, this motorcycle brings a lot of power to the table, and you can have a ball of a time riding this bike. Right, so if you look at our previous videos and all our motorcycles that we own, we have accessorized it completely to our liking and our needs, right? But if you look at the Interceptor here, we've got not a huge list of accessories. Let me just run it down for you quickly. In the lighting department, we've got a set of Baja S1s. The stock lights are okay, but just for that extra brightness and focus, we've got the Baja S1s. They look nice and tiny and goes well with the front end of the motorcycle. In terms of protection, we've got some fork sliders, We have the OEM Royal Enfield engine guard, while you also get the Zana International leg guard with the sliders. They work really great. And that's pretty much in terms of your protection. In terms of your phone mounts, we have the quad lock. Again, we've stressed about this phone mount system so much in the market that it's done a fantastic job, and we are just in total love in using quad lock on all our motorcycles. Looking at this setup here, we would like to keep the bike a lot more light and nimble, which is why you see soft luggage. We've got a GV soft tail bag, a tank bag, and yeah, you can also have saddle bags if you need to. So that's pretty much in the accessory department of the Interceptor 650. So we've owned both these motorcycles for quite a while, and talking about the most important aspect, the service cost. Now looking at the other bikes in this segment, the 650cc segment, I think this is the cheapest one to maintain, right? You're looking at about 3,000 to 5,000 rupees considering the overall condition of the motorcycle. I think apart from that, we've had a fantastic experience riding this motorcycle. Servicing this motorcycle has been a no-brainer. You just drop the bike off at Royal Enfield and you get it back the same day. If it's just a general service, your oil filter is all readily available, and there's really nothing much to worry about, and spares and services available throughout India wherever you're traveling, right? So yeah, all in all, it's been a fantastic experience. We just want to wait and see if there's a new updated Interceptor or a GT650 in the books. But so far so good. We've had a fantastic time riding this motorcycle. My name is Ajit. I'll see you guys in the next one.